But hip hop really gave me a place of belonging. It gave me a place to express myself, a place to learn how to hustle, a place to create, a place to become an artist. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ignite the World podcast. This is episode number 32, Hip Hop Saved My Life. I am your host, Jamie Dottie Garza, and today's episode, I want to take it back because hip hop just celebrated 50 years of existence. And I saw that headline a few days ago and wow, look what hip hop can do. And me and my wife had a lot of discussions about kind of like my upbringing and my flair, the culture I have. And it's really strong rooted with hip hop. And I want to share that on today's episode because hip hop was more than just music for me growing up. Now, let me tell you, growing up and going to school here in Virginia, Carrydale Elementary, that's where I first went to school before I went to Stafford at Hampton Oaks. I never fit in. And part of that is my ethnic background. I'm half Mexican and I'm half Chamorro, aka Guam. And at that point, when I was growing up, I didn't know much about my Chamorro side. That's my father's side. And I always resonated with my Mexican side, right? That's who I was raised by. That's what I saw every day. That's what I heard every day. And it was always like an identity crisis almost because, when you're growing up, you don't know where you want to fit into, especially as you got older. I mean, as kids, it was a very diverse group, a bunch. I grew up in Prince William County, so majority of my life, my early life. So it was always a diverse group. However, when I moved to Stafford, again, the diversity is not like what it is right now, but I could never find a pocket, especially getting to middle school and the high school, of where what clique I want to be around. And the more I realized, I was really an outcast because my Spanish wasn't good enough. I wasn't Mexican enough to chill with the essays. And there was no Chamorros. I wasn't Asian. I wasn't Japanese. I wasn't Korean. So I didn't really fit in. And I realized that hip hop was my ethnic connection. That's what connected me with everybody. It happened to be so. I chilled around a lot of the black kids and we all bonded at the lunch table. I remember middle school, we all bonded over hip hop. This is when 50 Cent was starting to bubble. J Hood, D Block, the underground mixtapes, all this was starting to bubble. And hip hop culture was very dominant, even spilling into movies like Friday and Next Friday, especially. I remember vividly, hip hop was taking over. And that's like the connection that connected me to everybody. And I'm just so thankful now looking back at it because hip hop wasn't about, it could be any shade in the world. You could be any ethnic background. You could be wherever you came from. Hip hop made it where you can see how others lived in the world. You could hear different stories, different boroughs, different hoods, different cultures, different regions, how they're living, how to hustle, how to painting pictures. And I attribute a lot of my upbringing and to even my adult years. I still love hip hop to this day. I don't listen to it as often as I used to, but it always has a special piece in my heart. And I realize hip hop's always been the center of who I am. In fact, I recall I saw that 50 Cent. I'm mad. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm mad I missed his final lap tour because I just came to mind. Get Rich or Die Trying is my favorite rap album of all time. I remember where I was at when it dropped in 2003, February. I got the bootleg copy. I made a lot of money off that album. I was bootlegging. That's hip hop. I was supplying. This is when we didn't have streams or the internet like that. You either went out to the store or buy. I still bought the album too. I made my mom take me to Best Buy. I remember, to buy a physical copy. I supported the album. When that album came out, it just had everything in a chokehold that really was like revolutionary. His marketing rollout, the music. Anywho, he was doing the final lap tour. I saw a lot of my high school friends on Facebook go to that tour, that leg of the tour, and see it live. And that's been 20 years ago. Wow. 20 years ago, 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. He got shot 9 times. That was the most. He was Superman. Like, there would never be another artist like 50 or G Unit. Love Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, DJ Who Kid mixtapes. Man, why I'm saying that though is because I've built so many great bonds with a lot of people from middle school to high school, and I'm still connected with to this day because of hip hop. You know, talking about CDs on the bus, talking about certain songs, G Unit versus D Block. We used to make these debates. Who's a better rapper? Lloyd Banks or Cassidy? Who will win? Right? Punchline Kings, who's better? Wait, but Lloyd Banks had fast flow. Like, there was so many pockets, man, and hip hop like fueled a lot of everything within me. It gave me a sense of style. My wife asked me, like, you know, you don't dress, you never dress, you always had some flair, you always had some swag. I attribute it to hip hop. Even to this day, the merch I create, like, yes, it's inspired by wrestling, but it's very hip hop infused. Like, my favorite rap group growing up, Dipset, all day, baby. The Set, Jim Jones, Joel Santana, Killer Cam. I remember high school wearing pink, 2004, coming through in a pink tee. Yes, the pink jersey, the pink hat. Like, that was a flex, you know. And I just want to say how much like hip hop has defined my life, you know. And even down to, I remember it got me into DJing. I wanted to be a professional DJ, but in high school, in middle school, going into high school, I learned how to record myself and record my friends. And what I would do is I was a mixtape DJ. That's why people call me J Dot, fun fact. But I remember making mixtapes of all the local talent who recorded, and I would sell the mixtape, and it would not only get them heard, but I would keep my craft and I would host it. I would narrate it. I was pretty much a storyteller. I was guiding the whole tape, hosting it. And I did that all throughout high school, but because of hip hop, it got me into graphic design. I was designing my own flyers, my own promos, my mixtape covers, and it gave me that hustle, because I learned how to hustle because of hip hop. I learned how to hustle CDs, mixtapes, flyers, logos. You know, this is when MySpace was bubbling up at the time, creating those banners, the layouts. I was creating all that, and it all stemmed from hip hop. The reason why I got into videos is because of hip hop, because I started creating music videos. I had the flip cam in like 2009, 2010 that I won at Best Buy. I got from Best Buy, and I was still in them circuits of having friends who rap, local rappers in studios, performing live at Jack's nightclub in Springfield. I don't think it's Jack's anymore, but performing at these places, I would document everything and record everything, and then I would upload it on YouTube, and, you know, it would be part of the thing. I remember it's all coming from hip hop. I remember there was a point in time I wanted to be like Smack DVD or Cocaine City DVD and create my own J Dot DVD, but that never happened. But I was working towards it. But all this stemmed from hip hop. Like, the music just connected me with so many diverse groups, so many moments, so many vibes, so many everything. Like, even down to one of my ex-girlfriends, I remember clear as day, my favorite rapper growing up, Stack Bundles. Squad up. She. Rest in peace, Stack Bundles. I remember he passed away in 2007, or I think June, like right before I was about to graduate. I cried. That was the first rapper I cried for. I just resonated with Stat Bundles. This is when he was signed with Dipset and Jim Jones, so it was crazy. Like, I remember just being a huge fan of him, just buying DJ Clue mixtapes, downloading DJ Clue mixtapes just to hear him. I was a huge fan. I remember my ex-girlfriend at the time, because she grew up in Brooklyn before she moved out here. I remember she took me to this place where Stat Bundles always shouted out because he used to get super fresh. I remember high school, I always wanted to get fresh. Whatever the rappers had, whatever my favorite rappers had, I want to have. He used to shout out this place called Vinny Styles, and it was in downtown Brooklyn. And I remember my ex, she took me there, and it was a great experience because I believe this was when he was alive. But they had this tribute to him. Like, that's when the Rockstar gear was popping. Was it Lamar and Dolly? I forget the brand he was endorsing. It might be Ed Hardy, but it had a mannequin. It had Stat Bundles with the outfit he was rocking. It was like this piece, and I wish I would have had a picture. We ain't have camera phones back then. Like, it was none of that. But, man, I just remember being there. I'm like, wow, this is where Stat Bundles was rapping about Jamaica Ave, downtown Brooklyn, the last stop on the 8 train. Like, just seeing all these projects and being rapped about, and here it is. And that blew my mind. Yeah, it's always blown my mind. I remember going out to California to visit my father, and I remember he took me to LA, and I wanted to go to some swap meets because at that time, Game was popping. He was just bubbling. Game was about shaking things up, like 2005. And I remember he took me to the swap meets. I felt like Game. You know what I'm saying? We went through Compton. I felt like Game, man. I was like, wow. And just seeing like all this culture, and it all rooted because of hip hop. And I just love the competition that comes with it, the style, the trendsetters. I'm just so grateful for hip hop. But hip hop really gave me a place of belonging. It gave me a place to express myself, a place to learn how to hustle, a place to create, a place to become an artist. I remember airbrushing. You guys remember airbrush tees? I got into that. I was trying to airbrush my own tees. It says J Dot. Man, I want to get airbrush tee next. Let's bring that back. If it wasn't for hip hop, like the dances at the school dances, the women who were in my life, like it all revolves around the hip hop. I know nowadays I'm not really into too much of hip hop. It's too much demonic. It's too much drill. I'm kind of growing up. You know, I'm definitely more mindful of what I listen to now. Man, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I have a whole bunch of CDs, and some days I just put on some G-Unit Radio, Who Kid, when he was dissing Styles and Kiss, when he was dissing everybody. Or I might just put in old Smack DVD with Dipset Invasion. Like, hip-hop is just great. I remember the first hip-hop song I heard that I fell in love with hip-hop. Shout out to my uncles. It was about 1993, 1994. Nothing But a G Thing by Dr. Dre. And that's when I always wanted to love hip-hop. I remember my mom, if you're listening, remember the time had to be like 98. This is when Puffy, On Top of the World, LOX. And I remember the shiny suits they used to have, More Money, More Problems. And I remember being in the kitchen, 3rd grade. My mom was on the phone. I was trying to do the dance moves and stuff. I got embarrassed because she caught me, you know, because I was trying to be like, yeah. I was doing all of that. Usher had the little goggles. We went to the mall. I mean, I got some of those goggles like Usher. You know, I remember vividly in 3rd grade, Word Up magazine. And I used to bring my Word Up magazine. We used to see Puff, The Lox, Usher, Lil' Kim, like everybody in his magazine. And me and my friends would converse at the lunch table. And we would just talk about our favorite songs. I remember getting Harlem World from Mace on a cassette tape. Parental advisory, uncut. My mom had no idea. I remember afterwards she made me get edited music, but I fought for my case. I was like, you let me watch, you know, movies like Boys in the Hood. Can I please listen to explicit music? I won my case. Shout out to hip hop. All in all, even in today's landscape of what I do, I catch myself often quoting a lot of Jay-Z lines or randomly. Like just the other day, you can ask my wife, I was creating some video content. I was like, yo, you remember that D4L song? But you can't do it like me. Nope, but you can't do it like me. I was like, wouldn't this be, I spit it off in some video content for my business. And that's how it be. All the classics, all the eras. Hip hop's been good to me. It's amazing to see how far it's become, even on the Super Bowl now. Like seeing legends like Snoop, Dre, 50M, like see everywhere. And branding, just the hustle. Like that's one thing I'm inspired by in my business, just the hustle. Like I finally understand 50 Cent. Like 50 was like, I'm gonna get this rap money, cool, but I'm gonna use this platform to branch out here. That man had video games at one time. You know, it's funny, my oldest, a teenager, he was like, yo, I want a Soulja Boy t-shirt. I'm like, what you know about Soulja Boy, yo? Crank that? She got a dunk. Good time. Like every time I hear music, man, hip-hop, it just takes me to a happy time in my life. So many moments, so many memories. And it's still instilled with your boy this day. Hip-hop allowed me to be embraced everywhere in the culture. Didn't matter if I was the light bright of the whole clique. I was always accepted. And it's just a beautiful thing. So if you're a hip-hop fan, let me know what your favorite hip-hop moment is. Maybe your favorite mixtape, favorite artist. Let me know. Thank you guys for listening. And remember, we're all like sticks of dynamite. The power's on the inside. But nothing happens until the fuse gets lit. Ignite the world.